All right, everybody, welcome to this training on the AllSmart platform. Today, we will be reviewing the vendor partner portion of this website. And as you can see, you have the 5 menu options above here, the top toolbar. And under our partners, we're going to be going through each of these sections: the partner application, the partners that are pending and approved, as well as finishing up with the partner market and how the partner market is managed and how the directory plays a part in the partner market. So I know we've had a lot of questions come through on where do vendor partners apply. We had an old website, now we have this new website. Please send all vendor partners interested in doing work with AllClean, whether it's recurring or one-time project work, disinfecting work, etc., to this website here. And this is accessible both within the private website if you're already logged in, but this is one of those features that's available also on the public side of the website for vendor partners who haven't created an account or whatever it may be. And the link to this, if you want to send it to them in a shortcut within an email, please send them to allsmart.work/partners/. So that's a shortcut hyperlink. You can send them in an email if you don't want to just send them to allsmart.work and have them go to the our partners and then partner application page. Okay. So similar to the vet, there's multiple sections that need to be completed for a vendor partner application. And again, most of you have gone through this, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So you have your introduction, the company information for the vendor partner, their contact information, address and shipping information, their rates and insurance, some APAR information we're requesting, and of course our terms of service. And I'm hoping in this training we can speed through this application because it's very straightforward and we can get on to more of the meat of the matter, which is the pending process, the approval process, and the partner market. So essentially, once the vendor partner accesses this page, they're going to put their name in here and what's their role, tell us about themselves. And they can select a profile picture here to upload. And then the last question, it defaults to no, but are you currently a vendor partner at AllClean? They have the option to change it to yes, but 9.9 times out of 10, it's going to be no. And they'll select next. Oops. All righty. So as you can see, as you move through the vendor partner application, it's going to check off the section as you complete it. Tom, a quick question for you. If a vendor partner is moving through this application, will it allow them to go to the next section if they haven't completed all the required fields? Tom, are you there?
There we go. Sorry, my mic was muted and I couldn't take the mouse. Yes, it will allow them to go to the next section. Excuse me. If they use the links above to review it, but they won't be able to submit the application without filling out the required fields.
Great clarification. Thank you for that, Tom. All right. So to Tom's point, a vendor partner, if they left this legal company name blank, as you can see, they can move on to section 3 here and to section 4. But when they get to section 8 and they want to select complete, if there's any required fields that are vacant, it will not allow them to complete the form. But just going back here for training purposes, the vendor partner is going to enter their legal company name. If they have a DBA, they would select yes, so doing business as, and it would provide this additional field to complete. The business structure, multiple options here from LLC to limited partnership, etc. We're interested in when they started their business and how many employees they currently employ, their annual revenue, and what types of services do they offer, when they select this box here, they can select commercial janitorial, which should be a core service they provide. And as they select the box again, they can add stripping and waxing, disinfection, electrostatic spraying. We're also interested in their website, social media, if available. They also have the opportunity to select if their business is certified minority or women owned. And Tom, for the record, if we can please make a change here to default to no.
Absolutely, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then, of course, they have the opportunity to upload their certificates here in their company logo. And they would click next.
So when you go through, you can skip the pages only if you use the links above, but you can't click next and go to the next page without it giving you an error.
Great point. All right. Lesson learned. Okay. So move on to contact information. And again, we're just looking for primary contact information and alternative contact for our vendor partner.
And I'll update that typo there. Oops.
And then we're requesting their mailing address. And then, of course, their 3-digit area code they service. This is the first 3 digits in their phone number. And of course, which state or states do you provide service in? And again, this is the same format of the services on the previous page. They can click and add as many states as they desire. In section 5, we're requesting their rates. So hourly rates for individual technicians, supervisors, their additional services such as carpet cleaning, tile and grout, strip and wax, pressure washing, window washing. It's all available on this page. We're about 70% complete. We're going on to section 6, which is insurance. So we're looking for them to provide the company that provides them with the insurance where they hold their policies. And again, what coverage is provided. So general liability is a requirement of ours, as is workers' comp. And they have additional options to add even plumber's insurance. And then we're also requesting their insurance agent, their phone number, basically their contact information. And of course, when does their COI expire? We want to be proactive on the part of our vendor partners as best we can so that we have active COIs. I know accounting and finance would be very appreciative of that when we go through our annual audits with our insurance company. So it's important that we gather that information here. And section 7 is their banking and finance. Pretty straightforward on a direct deposit form, as well as their EIN, tax ID information. And Tom, in case there's pushback with any vendor partners to, let's say, an Alexis Cahalan running the non-residential portfolio, or Michelle and Alex running the residential portfolio, or Kristen, Trace, whomever it is, right, in the portfolio manager position, trying to onboard a vendor partner. What's the security, the confidentiality of this application?
So we use, well, there's actually 4 different layers of security. We've got the basic HTTPS and SLL security, so we can take credit card payments and maintain that. That when you, every time you shop on Amazon, for example, that's the same level and the only level of security that you're using. But internally, because we used a managed provider, our security and our data is spread through 6 different server processors across the country, which reduces our internal risk. So if someone was able to hack or break into, for example, our database, they would only be able to get partial information. And we intentionally keep these things segregated so that while they may, in some very rare, unfortunate circumstance, be able to break in and steal an EIN number or potentially a credit card number, that information is kept separate from, for example, the email or contact or address that information would be associated with. So very secure and HIPAA compliant.
Okay, thank you for that sharing that. I feel more confident. I'm sure our portfolio managers do too. Ryan, in your experience, can you share the compliance portion of this section? And any other sections we've reviewed up to this point, since you've been approving the pending vendor partners applications or disproving them. And does that
you mean in terms of the banking information specifically?
Yeah, basically, is this a stumbling block for barrier of entry into the vendor partner program at AllClean?
So we haven't treated it as a stumbling block because in speaking to John, we haven't let that be a stumbling block. So yes, only about 50% of them come in with banking information. I spoke to John at the time because we had quite a number of pending folks and a lot of people that weren't comfortable sharing that information just by joining the program rather than when they were awarded an account. So we do move people to approved status at this point without this banking information. I think ultimately we should probably discuss this becoming a different component of the process, or maybe it's not on this form at all, and that's something that they backfill once we award them an account.
I concur with that. Thank you for sharing that with the team. All right. So section number 8, as we get close to 100% here, is our terms of service. They can scroll through, and then once they're satisfied, they select I agree to the terms of service and would select complete. All right, and that completes their portion of the application. What I want to show next, let me stop sharing the current screen and switch over to my screen now. After they complete their application process, they're going to fall into the next tier here in the vendor partner drop-down menu, which is pending partners. And as you can see, the only 2 live companies we have today, and again, I did this for efficiency purposes, was I created the Brian Beckham Sample Company with an additional Brian Beckham Sample Company, which Ryan will be speaking to soon. And this is where they land, everyone, before they move to become an approved vendor partner. So this is when Ryan Heimberger really picks up the ball, the baton, and runs with it. So what I'd like to do now is turn it over to Ryan Heimberger, who is going to speak to the pending vendor partner portion of this, as well as the approved vendor partner portion. Ryan, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. And if you can share your screen and walk through, one, when you see a duplicate, what's your take here? What's your next step here? And then once you have it down to the company you want to move forward with for potential approval, how do you go about approving that vendor partner?
Yes, sir. Let me get my screen for you here.
Could I interject here before we get rocking and rolling? Just guys, to put everybody's mind at ease, the reason we have to do these share screens the way that we're doing it is, and you may have this issue if you click that vendor partner application, Trace, Kristen, Chan, I know you will. You won't be able to do it anymore. So there are no more duplicate submissions based on IP address. So if that IP address is sent in that application, they can't do another one. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to, you guys will probably click the link and it will not work for you.
Thank you, Tom. All right, go right ahead, Ryan.
So are you all seeing my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, fantastic. So the pending partner screen is rather simple. So you can click this plus sign and check out the information that's been provided. So we want to have as much of this as possible. I'm going to speak to a few items that Tom and I have been working on and Brian alluded to earlier that we might be pulling out of this process. I have to have primary email address that's listed here. I have to know how many employees you have and your revenue that's listed here as well. The primary contact is also very important. So one thing that we're missing here that would cause me to disqualify this is we do not have a primary phone number. So we absolutely have to have that. That is one where I'd have to go back to the vendor or back to whoever's working with them and get that filled out before I can move them to approved. I'm going to do that for the sake of this process, but we do have to have that phone number. Tom and I are looking at taking that alternate contact piece off of there. So we're really only looking for the one crucial primary contact. We have the mailing address here. DBA name is not a deal breaker because a lot of companies don't have one. Their main business name is what they operate under. However, it's critical that if they do have a DBA name, we capture it, and you'll see as we go and look at the approved partners why that's important. We also see that the Brian Beckham Sample Company has agreed to the terms of service. And we're going to take a look at the edit entry here real quick, just to look at the other information that's available. So that previous screen shared the essentials that I'm really looking for as to whether the vendor is approved or not. The rest of what we're showing here is more informational that we might need down the road. The tell us about yourself, as you can see here. He's added a headshot. I believe there will be a logo as well. Business structure is an LLC. When did you start your business? In 2020. This is where you'll see the services that applied. So we can, from here, we can take a look at your company logo. Tom is going to correct the item with the certified business. There is a primary phone number in here. So Tom, if you would take a look at that, you can see here that there's a primary phone number listed here, but it's not showing on the previous screen. So good work, Brian, for taking care of things, but we'll get that fixed.
Simple things, my bad.
Thank you. And then we're just looking here at some of the same address information. We've also spoke about the hourly rates. We've gotten some, shall we say, interesting submissions in terms of what people are asking for in hourly rates. And I know this may be different for some other arms of the company, but based on what I deal with and most of the folks on this call, we don't do a lot of hourly billing. So that's something that Tom and I are looking at reviewing as to whether that needs to be here or as a separate discussion, because these are pretty accurate prices because Brian knows what he's doing, but we've seen people submit 50 cents and we've seen people submit $500 and just about everything in between. So we're taking a look to see if maybe there's a more efficient way to capture that information. You can see your insurance coverage. Brian has filled this out very well. Thank you, Brian. Banking information. This is the one we were just discussing. It's great if the vendor goes ahead and fills out that info, but it is not mandatory. We're going to collect it down the road as we actually award them some business. So that's not going to hold up the approval process. You can also see the EIN number and the tax ID number, and we're coming to the terms of service here. So I'm going to click cancel in this case because we want to go back to the other screen. So the last step would be found the phone number that Tom will provide for us here. I'm going to consider this approved, and these are just samples, so I'm just showing you how it works. So if we wanted to leave it as pending, that's the yellow circle here. If I wanted to deny in the case of a duplicate entry or a failure for some other reason, we'd hit the X, and otherwise we click through with the green check mark, so that company will now move to the approved entry. Brian, do you want me to go ahead and move to the approved VPs?
Go ahead while we're on this screen and go ahead and show how you remove if there's a duplicate entry for some reason, and then you can go to the approved after that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, same thing. So in this case,
life cycle.
We're going to disapprove the second entry, so we're going to move them to an X. So that page should refresh. I've run into sometimes the ones that I deny stay on this page. If so, you can always drop Tom an email and he can just delete them from the system entirely.
When you refresh it, it should update.
Yeah, it usually does, but I've had with some of the people that have submitted multiple, they hang in there. As you can see, we moved one to approved and one is gone altogether. So success.
Cool.
All right, great, Ryan. If we can follow the life cycle of that Brian Beckham Sample Company, that'll be great.
Absolutely. We're going to move over here to approved partners. So you have any number of ways to search for this particular vendor. In this case, we're going to search by legal company name. And there it is. That's the Brian Beckham Sample Company that we just approved. So this is all going to be the same information that we just took a look at. It's when you click the plus sign and approved partners, there's a little bit more instantly available to you because we're potentially working with this person. So we want to have more of it at our fingertips instead of just in the entry. But it's the exact same info that we just went over. I would like to show how to sort for some other entries here. So if you'd like to sort by vendor, say in the state of Alabama, you can do so this way. If you're looking for a vendor in a particular market, and you can also go by city, zip code, legal company name, and so on.
And Ryan, a question for you right now, and Tom, if he does not satisfy the question, if you can please interject. all of the portfolio managers on this call and not on this call have access to these filtering options and can source vendors for their needs. Is that accurate to say, Ryan?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so everyone, just for the record, all the companies within the approved partner list in the allsmart.org website are available to be used in your portfolios if it makes sense. Thank you for sharing that, Ryan.
Absolutely. And same as with the other screens that we've reviewed, if you want to show all the entries, it might take a minute longer to load, but you can certainly scroll through the entire list. And as always, I'm available as a resource too if you need something in a pinch or if you need some advice. But this is probably your best place to start if you have an urgent need to take a look at what we have in that area. Then maybe that's the time to come to me with some questions and say, hey, it looks like we've got 3 vendors that serve this territory. What do you think? What's our best option? What's our price points?
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing all that information. It was very helpful.
Yes, sir.
And then if I refresh this page here, now that I'm sharing my screen, those 2 entries have disappeared. Awesome. Okay, so last up to review is the partner market and how it's managed. And so essentially the purpose of this partner market in the future of what we hope it to be is the opportunity for vendor partners, once they're approved and in our AllSmart ecosystem, so to speak, they'll be able to view jobs that are available to them if it's within their capacity in the state of Georgia, if they're a vendor partner that services Georgia, or the Southeast, if you've got Georgia, Florida, Carolina locations, Tennessee locations. So that's our hope and our dream for the partner market. It's also used, from my understanding, Tom, that it's used if Ryan Heimberger is looking to consolidate accounts and to show a portfolio that a strong vendor partner could receive by partnering with AllClean. Is that accurate to say as well?
Correct.
Okay, very good. So the partner market looks like this, everybody. It's under our partners again. We're on the 4th leg of the journey here. And jobs, locations, accounts are only going to appear on this when they are placed on the market, and I will show you that next. But here we can see that we're displaying 8 options. And you can again filter down by the class, city, state, and zip. Click search, and that will display your limited options below. You also have the map and satellite here to zoom in on locations. Very interactive. I believe this is Google Maps, so it's one of the best. And then
actually, you can do street view from it too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, okay, street view, excellent. And then here, vendor partners, when they see this, they'll have the opportunity to see the industry type. The site number is good for our internal use and for their use when they're referencing quotes and bids and proposals, as well as when we want to sort and filter it on the managed partner market side, which I'll show you shortly. We have the serviceable square footage, estimated productivity rate, our not to exceed cost to the vendor partner, the general location of the account, the type of service is night cleaning, 5-day-a-week service, and it's going to have the portfolio manager's last name and phone number to contact. So again, it's our hope that vendor partners will view this on their own in the future. I don't believe we're there yet, but also as Ryan looks to share portfolios with vendor partners, he'll be able to share this screen with them or direct them to the screen so they can see the opportunities available. All right, so how did this location here, and as you can see, it doesn't have a name. This is only information we're controlling that's available to the public vendor partner, right? Or anybody cruising our website. We restrict any of the scopes of work. We're restricting the agreement with the customer. We're even restricting the name of the account because we want to keep it very vague, but we want to give them enough information to have a ballpark idea on how they can price on this job. And if things get more serious, of course, we're going to share more information as this is a vendor partner. All right, so how did this job make it to the partner market page? That is through our directories, which we witnessed in a previous training session. So under recurring portfolio, you want to go to your directory. I should still have some accounts here. I do. All right. So remember, this is a sample of your account in a very simplified format. We want to expand the account to see a summary. At the bottom of the summary, we want to select move, add, or change site. And while this is loading, the purpose of placing an account on the market for vendor partners to bid on, whether they do it on their own or through the assistance of Ryan Heimberger, is to expedite you guys replacing a vendor partner who's deficient, inconsistent, not meeting expectations, whatever the case may be for termination, because we serve the customer, not the vendor partner. All right, so as you're at the top of the edit entry page, it's not too far below from the top. So we're going to scroll down and you're going to see here, partner support. Checking yes in this field will place the account on the AllSmart marketplace. This will allow our current vendor partners to view limited information about said location and bid on it securely. So I want to place the Bryan Sample Company on the market because I'm very displeased with our current vendor partner. So I'm going to check the box. Yes, place on market. Scroll all the way to the bottom and select update. And all of you have access to this right now. All right, so here's my directory. Nothing's changed except for that simple edit I just made at the Bryan Sample Company account I manage. So I'm gonna go back to our partners, go to the partner market, and we should see a jump from 8 to 9, 1 point. Yep. And let's zero it in by the state. Let's go to Georgia. We have 5 entries here. All right, and here we go. It's the last entry here. So if you remember from our directory training, when I went over the Bryan Sample Company, the class was healthcare. We increased the serviceable square footage from 10,000 to 12,000 with an estimated productivity of 4,000. We have a maximum not to exceed amount. And Thomas, I'm looking at this. I'm not sure if this is correct, this NTE. I could be wrong though.
Oh, so that number is going to generate.
Can you share how that's generated? I should have stated.
Yeah, let me preface this by saying I don't remember. It's on my list, or I've done it already. But that number will generate based off of what's called your vitals, something that we haven't looked at yet, and it's going to be the absolute minimum amount that you could pay for said account based upon the state COLA modified by population density by the productivity rate times the number of labor hours associated with cleaning that building. So all of that information you supply when you complete your vet upload. And what we do with the data is we establish metrics. So that maximum NTE would be guaranteed if, depending upon if I triggered it or not, I don't remember, but to get you at least a 35% margin. So if your account is achieving greater than a 35% margin, you probably shouldn't put it on the vendor partner marketplace.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So suffice it to say, Tom will work on the back end and make sure that you have a low not to exceed amount in here, so that when vendor partners view this by themselves or again with Ryan Heimberger, this is a good place we want to be at because we've increased the margin. However, there will be another maximum NTE on the internal side of the website that Ryan will not exceed or you'll not want to exceed as a portfolio manager. Again, we're going to see you have the type of service requested with the service days and the portfolio manager to contact. So that's how you place an account on the partner market. You can do this for one, you can do this for all, or you can do this for none. So 1972 is this location. So last stop on this training is the managing partner market section. And we'll see that we have 9 locations. Again, we want to focus on Georgia.
Oh, you're on the manage portion now? Okay.
And here we'll be able to see if, oh, and you know what? Sorry, guys, let me back up one step. Go back to the partner market. And let's say that I'm a vendor partner looking at this and I'm interested. Let's say, all right. So vendor partners have the opportunity to input any text below any location on the partner market. And when they select add note, the note will be added. Where does that note live? Back to the top of the screen here, jump back to the managed partner market. Almost there. There we go. All right, so here we are at site number 1972. You're going to see the site name is Brian Sample Company, which is not available on the public side of the partner market. And then you'll see here that it's going to have notes based on when this account was added to the partner market here, as well as an entry or a comment made in that note section. I'm interested, please contact me. Thanks, John Doe. So Ryan Heimberger will be able to see, as will every one of you, if there's any inquiries placed on any locations as we continue to make this more available to our vendor partners. All right. So that concludes our guided tour of the vendor partner portion of the AllSmart website. Chan, Trace, Kristen, Alexis, anyone else on the call, please go ahead and unmute your mic. Are there any questions you have regarding the application process? Any clarity you need there, as well as Ryan's role in reviewing pending partners, approving them or not approving them? And then lastly, the partner market we just went over. And if you have no questions, if you could please unmute your mic and just say no questions at this time. Thank you.
I don't have any questions, Brian. Thanks.
Thanks, Trace. Kristen, Chan, any questions on your end?
No questions.
Okay, great. Alexis?
No questions here, Brian.
Bob? Awesome. All righty. Well, everyone, thank you so much. That concludes this training on the vendor partner portion of our allsmart.work website. I want to thank everybody for participating. I'll go ahead and stop the recording now.